Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Magician with a Microphone podcast. I am your host, Chris Lengyel of Chris Lengyel Magic, and today I kind of want to talk about wrestling because it is SummerSlam weekend this weekend, and I, as you guys know, I'm a huge wrestling mark, huge wrestling fan. I've been a fan since I was, 5 years old, maybe 4 or 5 years old, I think. Yeah, I've been a wrestling fan a majority of my life, man. I mean, it's had a very long-lasting effect on both my personal life and my professional life, my career and my magic. I actually base a lot of my patter, a lot of my demeanor on stage on professional wrestling. You'd be surprised. I've got a lot of inspirations when it comes to that. But first, I just want to say before we get into any wrestling talk, just because I haven't talked about wrestling in a while, and I really don't have a lot of friends that I can talk wrestling with, so I might just talk about it with you guys. I want to say that we are, what's today? Today is the 19th, August 19th, Thursday, August 19th, and SummerSlam is on the 21st. And we are also 19, 29, 30, 31, 10, 20, about 24 days away from my show at the Bijou Theater on September 12th. Tickets are available online at www.bijoutheaterct.com. That's BIJOUTHEATRECT.com. And I really quickly, I'm going to be that kind of guy. I'm going to call a couple people out. Not by name, but you know who you are. I was able to see Will Call yesterday. And the people that have told me that they bought tickets for my show are lying. They have not bought tickets. It is not showing up in the, in the database that Gary has at the theater that tells you who bought tickets, how many tickets they bought, how much money they spent, where they're sitting, and what time and what day they bought the tickets. I can tell you right now, I thought we were having great ticket sales, and it turns out we're not. So, to the smoke blowers who are telling me that they're buying tickets to my show and are not, you still have time to get yours online, because I could be that asshole, pull a fast one, and say, you know what? Door sales are not going to be available, just to save time, just to save a little bit of energy for everybody at the ticket counter. I could be that guy. I'm not going to, but if enough people are going to tell me that they bought tickets, I might be that guy. So, and anyway, guys, it's going to be a great show. I did a rehearsal yesterday at the theater, and it was almost damn near flawless. The only reason why it was not flawless is because in the process of me doing the show, going through and rehearsing all the tricks, I forgot to do my linking rings trick near the end of the show, but that's okay. And the reason why is because I did not have a set list in front of me. And, I didn't realize that that's what the next trick was. But everything else went great. I'm actually excited. I'm happy with the outcome of things. It's going to be really cool. I'm legitimately happy. I think it's going to work out. So, let's talk about some wrestling now, shall we? It is 2021, and let me tell you something. If you told me 5 years ago in 2018, if you told me 2017 that WWE would have a competitor, that TNA would still be around, that Christian Cage would actually be not only signed with another company, but the Impact World Champion, that Big Show and Mark Henry would have left WWE to go to this new promotion, and that CM Punk was coming back at this new promotion, I would have told you to go fuck yourself, because that would have been the craziest amount of bullshit I had ever heard, alright? AEW, All Elite Wrestling, a company that is only 2 years old, literally is living in Vince McMahon's head rent-free, and I guarantee you Vince is worried. Let's think about this for a second, okay? Where were we in 2017 with, actually, no, let's not even think 2017. Let's think back to what was it, All In? Just the pay-per-view All In before All Elite was even a company. Who was the WWE champion? When did All In happen? What, 2000? I think it was 2018. Who was the WWE champion in 2018? There was a very good chance it was either Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, or, oh, geez, let's see. 2018, what was that WrestleMania? Let's see. WrestleMania 35 was, no, 37 was this year. 36, 35, 34, 34. Brock Lesnar. Yeah. I think it was Brock Lesnar. Somebody's going to correct me on this. I know it. Brock Lesnar was the the Universal Champion, because he got booed out of WrestleMania 34 because he beat Roman. Either way, they both got booed. That was the year that Undertaker and John Cena met at WrestleMania. That was the year, the hell else happened? Kind of Daniel Bryan came back and tagged with Shane McMahon. Kind of an uneventful WrestleMania, if you ask me. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I remember WrestleMania 34. I remember where I was watching it, and I was kind of bored through about halfway through it. The Ronda Rousey match was really good. That's one thing. And, here's the thing I want to say about that, all right? People shit on Ronda Rousey because she couldn't necessarily grasp the concept that, yes, WWE fans are going to turn on you eventually if you're too, pushed in their face. All right, look here. Ronda Rousey, in my opinion, was a better fucking pro wrestler than 90% of the entire roster. Okay? Granted, she had Stephanie McMahon who was putting her over, but, Triple H took a beating from her. Shit. She had some great matches with Alexa Bliss. She had some great matches with, I believe she faced Charlotte at one point, right? I think it was. No, she faced Charlotte in the triple threat match. Good matches with Becky. The Nia Jax match was actually pretty, it was pretty decent. She knew what she was doing. I was actually I was rooting for her. I was kind of hoping that she'd stick around for a long time. I liked her. I thought she was fucking great. But unfortunately, the fans turned on her. She took offense to that and fucking split. She's CM Punk'd, And still at that time, they were having CM Punk chants, right? But the reason why I'm talking about WrestleMania 34 and what happened in that era is because that is when the All-In pay-per-view happened in, I believe it was Chicago. And let's talk about that really quick. Cody basically said that he bets that him and the Young Bucks can rent out an arena and they'd sell it out. And they did in like 5 minutes. I think it was 5 minutes. And they were teasing some big names. Adam Hangman Page, who I think Hangman is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. And we'll get into my favorites. Let's see. Who else? Obviously, Cody was there. The Bucks were there. Rey Mysterio was there. Stephen Amell, who was a surprisingly good wrestler. I forget who he faced. You had the return of Joey Ryan. You had that battle royal in the beginning where, Bully Ray made an appearance. And Bully Ray made another appearance later in the show. Pentagon versus Kenny Omega. Which Kenny Omega, in my opinion, he's my top 3 favorite wrestlers right now. I fucking love Kenny Omega. Everything about that guy is fucking talent. Everything about that guy is fucking money. What else can I say? That guy can put over anything and he can do anything. And in my opinion, he's got one of the best finishers in the business right now. The one-winged angel that, not gonna say nobody. One person has ever kicked out of, and that was Kota Ibushi in Japan, and the only reason why is because Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega are like best friends. I personally think they go a little bit further than that because I think at one point Kenny kind of slipped it. But you know what? That's nowhere near my business. I don't care how Kenny Omega lives his life. I don't care how Kota Ibushi lives their life. They're both great professional wrestlers, and that's all I give a shit about. Live your life the way you want. And I say this all the time. Live your life the way you want. Do what you want behind closed doors. If you make me laugh and you entertain me, I don't fucking care what you do behind the scenes. So, but All In happens. They sell out. They had to turn people away at the door. And I watched the All In pay-per-view. The only part I really didn't like was Joey Ryan, because I'm not a fan of Joey Ryan. I was at one point, and then I saw what he was doing with the whole touch my dick thing, and I think it's just pedo, and I don't like that. And the fact that he's been able to get away with that for so long is ridiculous. And the fact that somebody hasn't no-sold that thing and just kicked the shit out of him is also ridiculous, all right? And then again, I say this, and I love Orange Cassidy, but Orange Cassidy can actually fucking wrestle. You know, I love the lazy gimmick, but I love when he fires up too, because that dude can do a fucking tope suicido. I'm sorry, let me say it the way Mauro Ronaldo says it. A tope suicida! That's how he says it, because he's got to enunciate every fucking syllable in that name. He does a tope suicida, fucking moonsaults, kip-ups with his hands in his pocket. His agility is unbelievable. I would love to see him versus Darby Allin, that's all I'm saying. But, you know, I didn't like the Joey Ryan thing, but everything else was great. Oh, and the fact that, you know, like, the Bucks and Mysterio had, like, 3 seconds to finish the pay-per-view when they did. So, otherwise, I thought it was a great show. Now, I'm talking about this because fast forward a couple of months and Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page team up with Tony Khan, the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they announced that they are going to start a company. Who is the face of this company? Somebody that I honestly did not expect to be the face of a company, but is my all-time favorite wrestler ever, Chris Jericho. My opinion, the best wrestler to ever fucking live. Better than Flair, better than Hogan, better than Rock, better than Cena, better than Austin, better than San Martino, fucking, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, Jericho is the best wrestler to ever live, okay? Let me explain why, just for a second. In 2017, a click of a pen was getting bigger cheers than the main event on Monday Night Raw. Jericho threatened to put you on the list and people would explode out of their seats because they just wanted to see it happen. People were chanting CM Punk and This Is Boring through the main events of WrestleMania, or not WrestleMania, of, you know, Monday Night Raw, and even some of the other pay-per-views. Jericho puts a light-up jacket over. Jericho got people to cheer for and mourn a potted plant. Chris Jericho has reinvented himself so many times. Everything has been fresh. Everything has been good. The dude never wrestles a bad match. And even the ones that were sort of bad, he makes work, okay? He can talk. He can put shit over. He can make you hate him. He punched Shawn Michaels' wife legitimately as a shoot, punched her in the face to build up a pay-per-view. All right? That was not fucking prosthetics like people think. That was a legitimate fat lip that he gave Shawn Michaels' wife. He punched her in the face. Okay? Who else? Who else is going to... I watched him put Fandango over... I'm sorry, no, it's not Fandango, it's Fandango. And yes, I'll admit, I was a huge mark for Fandango. I thought he was great. I thought that they really had something. Of course, Vince has got to fuck that up, which we're going to get into soon, too. I got a lot of things. This could be a long podcast. But Jericho, every time he's reinvented himself, it's been something good and it's been something different. He's gone from, you know, hyping up a crowd, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. And, you know, welcome to Raw is Jericho. To having me walk around my school calling people liars, hypocrites, sycophants, and troglodytes. Like, what the fuck, you know? So when I was in my early Magic phase, I had really long hair. When I finally cut my hair, I wanted hair like Chris Jericho's. It didn't fucking work. I made myself look like an ass. But I wanted to have hair like Chris Jericho. My finisher when I wrestled was an F5 that turned into a code breaker, all right? Jericho, in my opinion, is the greatest wrestler to ever live. All right? His podcast is great. His fucking appearances are great. His one-off match that he had with Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome was damn near perfection. One of the best matches I had ever seen, and made me into a Kenny Omega fan, because I hated Kenny Omega before that match. Made me into a Kenny Omega fan. I was so fucking dumbfounded on how good of technical wrestling and how good of heel versus babyface heat was going on, considering Jericho was the fucking heel. He made Kenny Omega a fucking babyface. Like, shit. In a time when I never thought Kenny Omega could ever be a babyface again. Anyway, so AEW now has Jericho, the best wrestler of all time, in their promotion as their guy. All right? You know Vince McMahon's shitting his pants right now. Looking at this going, oh man, this ain't good shit. Somebody's gonna get fired. You know? And, like the guys in the back are trying to tell, it's not a big deal, Vince. Don't worry, they're going to go under in a year. Fast forward to 2020. Okay, now, mind you, what happens in 2020? COVID. But AEW is also the first wrestling promotion to have live audiences back because they stayed in Florida, where it's, legal to live your life. And even though Vince was still in Florida, he could have had people in the Performance Center a little bit at a time, but I feel like they knew. They knew. And then they're bringing in more talent. Big Show goes over. Becomes Paul White again. First time he's been on TNT in 20 years. Mark Henry goes over as color commentator. First time he's ever been on TNT, let's see. Who else? They bring in names like Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin. They've got, oh my God, why can't I think of him? Because when he debuted, I was like, holy shit, I remember seeing him at an NEW event. Oh, fuck me, sideways. That's gonna bother me now. Anyway, they got, Britt Baker, fucking amazing talent right there. Granted, I don't understand what their hype between all of the Japanese girls are, because let's face it, and I mean this as all respectfully as possible, nobody knew who they were. Nobody. I had never heard of their first or second women's champion, to be fair. The only one that I knew of was Britt Baker. Okay? They've got people like Sunny Kiss. They've got people like fucking, Nyla Rose. Fucking, what was that legless guy that nobody's ever gonna forget? Nobody's gonna remember him, but nobody's gonna forget him at the same time. A whole bunch of people, Aleister Black, who's going by Malachi Black now, who's doing great, by the way. Christian Cage fucking debuts with AEW. I believe Kurt Angle's gonna be, now, don't quote me, but it's the day before Rampage, and I think I know Kurt Angle's debuting, I know Daniel Bryan's debuting, but then, The Thing and Vince McMahon is claiming up and down that AEW is not a threat. Who have they been teasing in the past couple of weeks? Darby fucking Allin calls him out as the best in the world. He's digging with Sting, by the way. Sting, somebody I never expected to ever see back. He's back on TNT. By the way, can I just say really quickly that Sting no-selling that table spot was bullshit. That's all I gotta say. But Darby Allin's hanging out with Sting, okay? He calls him out as, even, I'm willing to take on anyone in Chicago, even if you're the best in the world. Kenny Omega's wearing a Cookie Monster shirt, and then recently a Chick Magnet shirt. And then they're debuting Rampage at the Chicago, the Alliance Center or something like that, in Chicago. CM Punk. What the fuck is going on in the wrestling world right now? Holy shit. Now don't get me wrong. I always said that CM Punk was going to make his return to the professional wrestling world. I never expected it to be with AEW. But I can understand why. Okay? But, and this is the way I've got to look at it, right? Rampage and SummerSlam are one day apart from each other, which, by the way, I actually find it kind of weird that SummerSlam is happening on a Saturday, not a Sunday, but I understand why. I guess they've got a major boxing match going on Sunday at the arena in Vegas, and SummerSlam's happening at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And of course, Vegas is the boxing capital of the world, so they can't fuck with their schedule. But it's actually kind of cool. But hear me out. I don't know what Tony Khan said to CM Punk. I don't know what John Moxley said to Punk. I don't know what Chris Jericho said to Punk. I don't know what anybody said to Punk. Because somebody has had to have gotten in his ear at one point. Punk always said he's never returning to wrestling. He's never coming back. Even though people at the, Pro Wrestling Tees in Chicago, they actually have a wrestling ring in their building, for people who don't know that. Say that Punk has been there taking bumps, running the ropes, trying to get rid of ring rust, which apparently he never had. He's been working on the set of Heels, which is a wrestling show on HBO. He worked with Fox to be an analyst for WWE. He made an appearance at a very small indie show under a mask and gave somebody a GTS, which he tried to play it off like it wasn't him, but let's face it, we all know it's him. And CM Punk has been, and is still, since 2014, the most talked about wrestler in the world. He hasn't wrestled a match since the Royal Rumble of 2014, where he quit the day after on Monday Night Raw, and he is still the most popular wrestler in the world, okay? Granted, I'm happy he went and did MMA. I'm happy that he's doing the acting stuff, but guys, CM Punk right now is the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the Attitude Era. If CM Punk, now mind you, if CM Punk does not show up in AEW, he's going to show up at SummerSlam. Alright? I have a feeling. Because think about it, it actually kind of adds up, okay? Think about it really quickly. Daniel Bryan is let go of his he is requested to be let go of his contract for WWE. WWE fires 15 people from the Performance Center, from Raw, from SmackDown. They've got all of this money. They bring back John Cena, who is going to win number 17 at SummerSlam. Let's be real. They've got all of this money. They're going back to Saudi Arabia, so they've got a couple more hundreds of millions of dollars in their pocket. They don't bring back Brock Lesnar. They bring back Goldberg. But, it's no secret that they have spent the most money on Brock Lesnar. Every time he comes back, $17 million, $18 million, $20 million, $40 million this last time around. It cost them so we can come on and have 14 minutes worth of matches for the entire year. and then stand there and jump around the ring while he's being talked for by Paul Heyman. Lesnar's not back. WWE has a surplus of money right now. I mean, we're talking a lot of fucking money. What if Vince McMahon found out that CM Punk would be going to AEW, reached out to him because Punk said that he would take a call, he would listen, they would have to throw a bunch of money at him and the storyline would be right. Guys, listen, it might not happen. I'm not swearing on anything saying that it would. But listen, John Cena is going to become the WWE Universal Champion at SummerSlam on Saturday. What if CM Punk comes back to WWE? Now, mind you, this is all, if CM Punk shows up at Rampage on Friday, tomorrow, forget everything I said, okay? But what if CM Punk shows up at WWE SummerSlam and challenge and starts a feud with John Cena, and they finally have CM Punk headline WrestleMania against John Cena? Like, can you imagine how crazy that would be? How, like, big of a stir-up that would cause? First off, all of the marks that said that CM Punk would never come back will have come back. I mean, regardless whether he shows up at WWE or shows up at AEW, it means he has come back. But at the same time, too, it's like, you know, he also said that he would never step foot in a WWE ring again up until about 2 years ago. So, I mean, there is a possibility. You know, Vince has so much money. What if he just pays him to, like, what if he pays Punk to not show up at AEW? You know, just to completely fucking, like, just no-show the event, right? Punk did say, like I said before, Punk did say, if the money's right, he'll do it. I don't know, man. I have a feeling all the money that they made over the past year and all of the money that they could have spent on other guys that they didn't, something's going to happen. Punk... Ah, man, it's such a hard thing to really comprehend. If Punk doesn't show up at Rampage, he will be at SummerSlam. He's the biggest talk in wrestling right now. There's no way. There's no way that he's not showing up at a wrestling. Even Impact. If he shows up at Impact, it'll still be something. He'll still be the talk of wrestling. It'll put Impact back on the map, but, I mean, still... You know? But, you know, everybody's saying that he's going to show up at AEW. He's going to end up feuding with Kenny Omega. Even people are saying that he's got, like, a Brock Lesnar contract. He's only going to wrestle, like, 5-6 times a year. Which I could see because, let's face it, CM Punk, if he's making that much money and if he's that much of a demand, people are going to listen. They're going to bend over backward for him. They're going to say, all right, well, this is what you want to do. Fucking let's do it. All right. You want to wrestle 3 times a year? Screw it. Let's do it, you know? For the same pay as you would get in WWE, pay maybe even more? Who knows? So, we'll wait and see. It's a waiting game. Less than 24 hours from now, I guarantee you there will be a spoiler on, I guarantee there's going to be a spoiler. Somebody's going to leak whether CM Punk walked into the United Center in Chicago. Somebody's going to leak it. Somebody's either going to put up a picture or there's going to be a tweet that's going to say he's here. I don't know. Something is happening at Rampage tomorrow. Even if it's Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson showing up, which, you know, he's going to show up as the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, the same thing he was in ROH. Something is going to happen. Now watch Bryan Danielson show up and he completely heals on everybody and like joins the Elite or something. That'd be pretty cool. Because I really don't see any obvious opponent for him when he gets there. I mean, if you think about it, Jericho and MJF. MJF and Bryan Danielson would be a great fucking feud, especially considering they just finished off the MJF-Jericho feud. That would be pretty cool. Maybe even Bryan Danielson versus Jericho. Matches that we should have gotten in WWE, but we didn't. At least not at the right time. That could be something. Maybe Darby Allin. Who knows? I would love to see Bryan Danielson versus Darby Allin. That'd be a great fucking technical match. Darby Allin's high flying, Bryan Danielson's speed, his agility, and the fact that they both know how to wrestle technically. That would be something. How about Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page? Great feud. That'd be something. And here's the thing. It's like right now it's a 50-50 shot at him turning babyface or heel. You don't know what he's going to come in as. He could be a babyface for the first half of the show and then turn heel by the end of the day. You know? Because, let's face it, he's not going to come in as a heel and then turn babyface. It doesn't work like that. You can't do that. So, let's see. Who else? Him and Christian. Bryan Danielson and Christian. That'd be pretty good. I mean, it's happened in the past. It happened in WWE, I'm pretty sure, at one point. I wouldn't want to see him and Paul White. That's already happened way too many times. Even though with Paul White's ability now to actually be a legitimate giant and actually wrestle and show his ability. Hell, he even changed up his chokeslam. He kind of had that old WCW-like vibe when he chokeslammed, what's his name? QT Marshall. But him and QT Marshall are facing off at Rampage. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to. It's gonna depend. It's really gonna depend. So, either way, somebody is debuting. Somebody is showing up at fucking Rampage. And it's gonna be big. And I have a feeling somebody's gonna be returning at SummerSlam. They're treating SummerSlam this year like WrestleMania. Oh my God, anything could happen. Anything could happen. That's what I love about this right now, is the fact that, yeah, literally anything can happen. You know? And then again, I mean, you know, there could be some things that WWE could do. They could bring in somebody that they've never had before as a debut. That would, like, completely throw everybody off and make everybody mark out. Now, who would that be? You know? Here's how I would book a return in WWE right now, knowing everything that's going on, okay? Knowing the fact that Cena's back, knowing the fact that after SummerSlam, he's going to be the Universal Champion. I honestly think Goldberg is gonna put Lashley over. I don't think he's walking out with the WWE title. I don't think he is. And very, very easily, the reason why is because Bobby Lashley is on fire right now. MVP is on fire right now. And I really, truly think if they could keep that title on Lashley until WrestleMania, Lesnar's going to come back and we're finally going to have that Lesnar versus Lashley match that we have been wanting for literally 10 years. I mean, that's a shoot fight that I would like to see. I would pay to see Lesnar and Lashley legitimately shoot fight each other. Because I don't know who would win. Because I've seen Lashley fight. Like, Octagon, his fights in the Octagon are pretty damn good. Lesnar might have the edge because Lesnar's a little bit bigger. And his ground and pound is just unbelievable. But I think Lashley's done his homework. You know? But this is how alright, so let's just say CM Punk is going to come back at SummerSlam. This is how I would book it, alright? John Cena hits the Attitude Adjustment on Roman Reigns, pins him 1, 2, 3. John Cena becomes the 17-time WWE champion. World champion. Whatever. Beats Ric Flair. Tops Ric Flair. Ric Flair's no longer the GOAT. John Cena's the GOAT. John Cena takes the microphone after he beats Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has already, made his way into the back. Confetti's flying out. Cena takes the microphone. He goes, well, I told you all I had to do was hold in for 1, 2, 3, and I'm now a 17-time champion. I'm now the greatest of all time. I'm now the best in the world. And then when he says that, the lights go out. Okay? You got it. This is the only way I feel like you could do this. Now, remember when CM Punk cut the pipe bomb? Where were they? Las Vegas. John Cena is going to be standing in the middle of that ring in the dark. Obviously, you're going to see him, looking around like, what the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden, you're going to have this video package playing of, of Ric Flair, being the best. And then you're going to hear things about Bret Hart, the best there is, the best. Daniel Bryan, the best. Shane McMahon, the best in the world. John Cena, the best in the world. And then the way that I think they should do it is they should have, just over the audio in the dark, I hate when people say that you're the best, because you're not. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world. And all of a sudden, and dude, the fucking building would erupt at that. I honestly think if you were to set up a decibel counter in that building, if that were to happen, it would break a record. I really, truly think it would break a decibel record if CM Punk were to debut somehow like that. All of a sudden, you see CM Punk shit coming up. They play the music out for a little bit. And then, out of the fucking curtain, with the hood on, walks out CM Punk. Crowd starts chanting. The crowd's chanting long before this, because the crowd's going to start chanting once Cena gets that pinfall. Once he says best in the world, you know it's going to happen. And then, CM Punk takes off that hood. You actually see it's him. He goes down onto his knee, checks that invisible watch, and the second that his hands go up to say it's clobbering time, an entire stadium of 70,000 people are going to go, it's clobbering time! And then he's going to make his way down to the ring, and that is going to be a stare-off, right? A stare-off. Mind you, confetti is still falling. There's not even a WrestleMania sign up yet. Right? John Cena's in the middle of the ring with his brand new Universal title. CM Punk gets in the ring. They make eye contact. CM Punk makes a beeline. Has a microphone, takes the microphone out of John Cena's hand. All he says, John, WrestleMania. Drops the mic, does the whole, spreads his arms out, I'm the best in the world, looks around, crowd fucking, the crowd, this will be, oh, guys, think about it. If it gets booked somehow this way, not even exactly like that, if it is made known that it would be CM Punk versus John Cena for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 38 at the fucking AT&T Stadium, 100,000 people, and he's main eventing. Oh, guys, this is fucking night and day. This is fucking night and day. First off, CM Punk that night would get a Stone Cold Steve Austin-sized pop. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I will put money on. Mind you, if this happens, if this somehow happens, if he does not show up at AEW, because I'm going to tell you how I book AEW as well in a second, okay? I know we're over the 30-minute mark, but I don't care. I'm having fun with this, okay? If that happens, and CM Punk walks out in front of 70,000 people at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, the same place he cut the pipe bomb, the same place where he told John Cena that he's going to take his title and leave the company, you will have a pop Mind you, knowing that it's going to be a building full of the fucking true wrestling fans. Because it's WrestleMania and SummerSlam that always get the true fans. Kind of like the ECW crowds, okay? You will get a pop bigger than Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out and helping Mick Foley win the championship. I promise you. It will be the biggest pop professional wrestling has ever heard. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. CM Punk will be responsible for the biggest pop anyone has ever heard at a professional wrestling show. Probably even at a sporting event. If he were to come out at SummerSlam. The Raw after, same thing. Coming out with the new Universal Championship. Even if he fucking turns heel on it, well, he wouldn't be able to turn heel on everyone. I believe at that point that it's impossible for him to turn heel. Even though if anybody has the ability to be able to make a crowd hate him, it's him. Him and Jericho. You will have the biggest pop since Stone Cold Steve Austin. You will finally have the face of the WWE, because let's face it, John Cena has been the face of the company since 2004. Okay? When he left, WWE had no face of the company. When he legitimately left to go to Hollywood, they tried pushing Roman Reigns down our throat, didn't work. They tried with Ambrose, didn't work. They tried with Rollins, didn't work. They tried with Lesnar. Lesnar sort of worked. Kind of worked when he was a babyface, but Lesnar doesn't like being a babyface, so it didn't work with him. Didn't work with Balor, didn't work with Shinsuke, didn't work with Samoa Joe, didn't work with fucking Goldberg. Everybody, you mention John Cena, they say WWE. You mention WWE, they say John Cena. Except for when CM Punk was on his top. Because if you paid attention, people knew who CM Punk was, even when they weren't wrestling fans. Didn't even work with Daniel Bryan. But you could have put CM Punk on a fucking billboard and I would have known. Even if I wasn't a wrestling fan, I would have been like, hey, that's the guy from wrestling. That's the guy who tells it how it is, the best in the world. Jericho can't do that. Not with WWE. Ric Flair has always been known for NWA. WCW. Sting's the same way. Triple H, maybe. Shawn Michaels, absolutely. But they were, at one point, faces of the company. Rock and Austin, absolutely. They were faces of the company at one point. WWE, during the whole Roman Reigns as God phase, never had a face of the company, and I feel like that was the biggest downfall. Their face of the company that they were trying to push failed, so nobody cared. CM Punk could have been that guy. If you think about it too, God, all it took was a main event at WrestleMania. That's all he wanted. But they could make CM Punk the face of the company and people would know who he was, who he is, who he was. They would pay money to see him. That's all I'm saying. Now let's reverse this. Let's say if he debuted at AEW. This is how I would do it. Who's Kenny Omega taking on at Rampage? Anyone? I don't think he is. Might be Christian. Not sure. Might be a rematch. Not sure. I feel like it should be the same thing. First off, Cult of Personality, no matter where he goes, is going to be his music. So once that first riff hits, the roof's going off the place. But knowing that this is his hometown of Chicago, Illinois, and he lives legitimately 10 minutes away from the stadium, or from the arena. He claims he's doing a viewing of one of the Heels episodes that night, but let's face it. You could do a whole Q&A and the showing. Only take you probably, 2 hours? Not even. If they started at a certain time, he can get there in time. I feel like Kenny Omega beats Christian for whatever title, or whoever he's facing. He beats him for the title. He's standing tall with the Elite, all of a sudden the lights go out. The crowd knows what's going to happen. CM Punk! CM Punk! CM Punk! All of a sudden, And during the few moments that we have left, I'd like to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand. At that point, the crowd's going to go crazy. The lights come back on. There's CM Punk's music. There's CM Punk on the stage as he's walking up through the tunnel. And it's going to be insane. And I have a feeling he's going to walk right down to the ring, make a beeline to the ring, stare Kenny Omega, point to the fucking title. Because isn't All Out, I think it's either All In or All Out, is in Chicago. Imagine him winning the AEW World title in Chicago. Either way, he's going to be put into a title picture. No matter where he goes, no matter who he faces, he's going to be the world champion. But I have a feeling, oh my God, it's just so hard. I have a feeling he's going to WWE. I don't think Vince McMahon is, I'm not going to say that stupid, because let's face it, Vince isn't stupid. Vince is very out of touch. He's very naive. He's very outdated. He's not hip, I guess you could say. But Vince has always had his way with bringing people back that said they would never be back. Look at Bruno, look at Ultimate Warrior. Hell, he brought Hogan back a couple times. Look at Macho. And what I mean by Macho is before Macho passed away, when he was doing the All-Stars thing, when he did that, ooh, yeah, 2 generations collide, yeah. WWE All-Stars, yeah. You know, that whole thing, I don't remember the whole I have a friend who knows the whole thing. Macho Man actually signed a multi-year contract with WWE, was going to be coming back, was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame that year, and then he died. Macho Man was set for a return after he promised he would never go back to the WWE, especially after the whole allegations with him and Stephanie. Why the fuck would you want to go back? But he was able to go back. The fact that the Ultimate Warrior and Vince McMahon shook hands and hugged each other, Vince can get anyone back in that company that he wants. Anyone. Vince has the money to pay them. Vince has the accommodations that they could ask for. If Vince can pay Brock Lesnar $20 million a year to sit on his ass in his cabin in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Saskatchewan, Canada, wherever the fuck he lives, he can pay somebody else to come back and do a couple of things. And think about how easy it is right now, okay? Vince is batshit fucking scared of AEW. Vince is losing a lot of good people to AEW. Vince is losing a lot of potential talent to AEW. Surely, once the news broke that Bryan Danielson signed with AEW, did you notice that CM Punk, the claims came, the stories came out that Punk signed with AEW, which, by the way, Punk has never officially announced that he did. Okay? This is a long podcast. I don't fucking care. If you guys are liking this, oh yeah, by the way, Christmas tree. Keyword, code word, Christmas tree. Guys, if Vince McMahon dropped the ball on CM Punk coming back, all of this hype, knowing that Punk is back involved with wrestling again, I personally thought he was coming back at Backlash the night after UFC 203 when he lost to Mickey Gall in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Personally, I thought he was coming back. I was like, we're going to see him at Backlash, watch. And he didn't. I've always been a Punk hopeful. It's like WrestleMania 35 when they were playing that whole Chicago Cubs versus New York Yankees. I thought Punk was coming back then. I was like, fuck, that'd be really cool. And then I thought he was coming back at the Royal Rumble 2020. Great surprise with Edge. I thought it should have been Punk. If Vince McMahon knew what he was doing and had the money that he claims that he does, he would have sent CM Punk a blank check and said, put a figure on it, signature's already on it. He would have said, here's a contract, Write down your terms and conditions. Anything you want. Do you want the main event at WrestleMania? We won't bring back Rock. We won't bring back Lesnar. Him and Cena work great together. I've heard, not personally, he hasn't told me personally, I never met the dude. I have heard in podcasts and interviews that he likes John Cena. He has nothing bad to say about John Cena. So I feel like if he was going to work with anybody, it would be John Cena. They had such a great feud in 2014. No, 2011. No. 13. Whenever he was leaving the company. They had a great feud. Vince, knowing the fact that AEW is literally an ATM, they took Jericho, they took Moxley, they took Sting, they took Christian, they took Big Show, they took Mark Henry. They offered, WWE at one point offered a contract to the Bucks. AEW took the Bucks. They got Cody. They got Dustin. They have Jim Ross. They have Taz. Bret Hart showed up at one point. They're probably going to have Flair really soon. They've got Andrade, who's actually trying to convince Charlotte to jump ship. He's got Aleister Black. They're soon going to have Daniel Bryan. Vince is scared right now. Also knowing the fact that plenty of people who are leaving or who want to leave have been promised of great things at AEW and are getting them. Chances to work in Japan, chances to work in Europe, chances to work in Mexico, teaming with other companies. Vince won't do that. Knowing the fact that AEW, they don't go by scripts. You can actually cut a promo to your ability. You don't have to sugarcoat your moves. Everybody wants to go there now, dude. Vince would be absolutely a fucking moron if he didn't sign CM Punk. If he didn't send CM Punk, or maybe even have somebody personally deliver CM Punk a blank signed check and said, put a number on it. See you at SummerSlam. It's got to happen, man. If CM Punk doesn't show up at SummerSlam, I'm going to be completely convinced that he's done with wrestling and he's been legit, because there's no way you could be... He's still the most talked about wrestler in the world. After 8 years of being out, he's still the most talked about wrestler in the world. And if anybody disagrees with me, please in the comments, tell me what you think should happen, and I'll debate it. I like this stuff. Dude, let me tell you, I am such a mark for pro wrestling. If you like wrestling, please comment below. What should I talk about? I would love to make this into a wrestling podcast. I'm having a friend of mine who's a professional wrestler, Ron Zombie. We just got to figure out a day to have him come on and do my show. I'd love to hear his stories. You never hear stories from an indie wrestler. And I mean, we're talking this guy's wrestled a bunch of people, met a bunch of people. The dude hangs out with Bubba Ray Dudley, like they're friends. I'm sure he's got great stories. Even he was telling me he thinks Punk is going to show up at SummerSlam. Look, all I'm saying, guys, CM Punk right now is the hottest name in professional wrestling. The hottest name. Bigger than Kenny Omega, bigger than Roman Reigns, bigger than John Cena, bigger than fucking Daniel Bryan, bigger than Kota Ibushi, bigger than Okada, bigger than Will Ospreay. Hell, I'll say he's a bigger fucking name right now than Ric Flair. If Hulk Hogan were to sign with AEW, I still think that CM Punk would be a bigger talk right now than him. Which is actually, I'm surprised Hogan has not gone to AEW, but at the same time, I don't think they want him there because he's killed every company he's been a part of. with the exception of WWE. And I'm saying that being a huge fan of TNA back in like 2010, 2011. I legitimately loved TNA. I think personally, the Aces and Eights storyline is the best fucking faction storyline that wrestling has ever produced. I think it's better than DX. I think it's better than the NWO. I think it's better than the Nexus. I personally hate the Shield, so I'm going to say it's better than the Shield. The way that they built it up, the way that they revealed everybody, the way that they finally revealed Bully Ray to be their leader, getting Hogan involved, having Hogan being on the losing side of this thing. Hell, they turned Bischoff fucking face, for God's sakes. And I just met Velvet Sky about a month ago, and I told her, I said I think Aces and Eights is the greatest storyline wrestling's ever put out. Next to The Fiend. Well, then again, The Fiend's more of a character. Storyline-wise, Aces and Eights was damn near perfect. I have a way that I would have booked how they would have diminished, but I think they were damn near perfect. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what's in store for Rampage and SummerSlam, knowing that they're a day apart. Rampage needs to put on a very good show. WWE might be panicking after Friday night, depending on what happens. WWE might fucking go broke, depending on who they have to pay off in order to show up. I don't know, guys. We're gonna see. We will see. Alright, guys. Well, I'm gonna get going. Thank you for listening. I really do greatly appreciate it. It was a lot of fun talking about this because, hey, when I talk wrestling, when I talk something I like, I kind of get on a tangent. Hope you guys have a good night. Hope you guys enjoyed listening. Hope you guys watch SummerSlam and Rampage. And, hey, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think's going to happen. I'm Chris Lengyel with Chris Lengyel Magic. You are listening to the Magician with a Microphone podcast. I'll talk to you later.